Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So I took a little break. I've been gone for a couple weeks. I don't know if anyone noticed, but sometimes it's good to take a break from YouTube or the internet in general. I went down the shore with my husband and the dogs and had a lovely winter getaway in the middle of nowhere because when you go to Long Beach Island, New Jersey, and I don't know if it's like this with every shore town, but in the middle of February, it's like a ghost town. And you know that I love ghosts. So I had a really great time. I recommend, unless you really like to go swimming, I recommend it the best time to visit the shore is in the winter. Now we did have a couple nice days too where we could get out and walk a bit because it was chilly. But wow, what a great mind clearer, just to be away, not to be online, just the more I do that, the more I realize the value in it. But it's also great to be back. So today is a bit of a celebration, and I owe that all to you guys because I have reached 3,000 subscribers on this channel. It may be back to 2.99 when I post this video, but for now, I feel like I'm close enough to make the call, and I'm just really happy about it. My channel has been very slow growing, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'm happy to have the people who enjoy my content. I always feel a little funny about that word. You enjoy my content. But I welcome you here, and I really appreciate it. And to celebrate, of course, I'm doing a giveaway. Now, I just finished this book. I actually finished it before my vacation, and I started reading the next V.C. Andrews series, the Logan series, which I'll do a video on very soon. But I did read all of this book, The Woman Beyond the Attic, the V.C. Andrews story by Andrew Niederman. And I am giving away this lovely hardback copy today. I bought my own. I also have it on ebook. And I think I might have even bought the audio. I just went off on this book. It's a book that I'm going to return to. I really loved it. And I'm happy to give this book away to one of my subscribers. Now, I'm sorry, but I can only do USA because the shipping for this would be like over $20 and I just really can't afford it. My patron count is not that high. And speaking of patron, if you would like to join my Patreon, I'm always happy to invite you into that small family of friends. So all of my patrons had access to my reading blogs on this book. And what I'm going to do at the end of this video is just string them along. If you want to stick around to that at the end, I'm just going to put them all together. So you can kind of get my review of this book, what I thought as I was reading it. But I do highly recommend it. It's a great book. Andrew Niederman did a wonderful job. It has photos of V.C. Andrews. I'm not going to open this because I don't want to break the spine, but it has wonderful photos of her and her family, of her when she's very young. It was just lovely to see her as a young girl and kind of really get in touch with her spirit. That really comes out in this book. And another thing that's wonderful about this book is it includes at the end unpublished works of hers, including a good chunk of a novel. It's unedited, so it's a little rough, I guess, but I didn't notice. I was just absorbed in the story 100%. V.C. Andrews' estate gave Andrew Niederman permission to print that in its entirety without editing. So that's a real treat. There are some other things in the appendix as well for every V.C. Andrews fan. So if you'd like to enter this giveaway, it's for USA only. I do international giveaways every once in a while for my global audience and when I can. So in order to qualify for the giveaway, you have to be from the USA. You have to be a subscriber, at least for the duration of the giveaway. And hopefully you'll stick around for longer than that. And what else? You have to rate giveaway in the comments below. So good luck. I will be doing this drawing sometime next week. I don't always do the announcements on my videos, but check my community post on YouTube for updates. Okay, so what else? What have I been doing? Well, I've been doing a lot of writing. So I made a little vow back in December. It was kind of a New Year's resolution, but I started in December, and that was to publish on Amazon or some platform one published piece of writing, whether it's a novella, a short story, an anthology, a collection, or maybe even an essay. I don't know. I haven't published an essay ever, but except on my blog. So I just published a new book yesterday. It came out, and I'm thrilled to report that it is now the #1 release in its category. So Red Masquerade is a young adult novel, romantic suspense, I think is a good way to put it. Gothic, little horror, but it's pretty tame because it is a young adult book. And it's about the world of ballet, and it takes place in Romania. And I'm really proud of it. So I've been working for weeks editing that, getting it into its final state. It's available, and of course I'll link it below. It's available in ebook, print, and if you want to sample it, you can read the first 3 chapters, or they call it episodes, on Kindle Vella, which is an app. I believe it's free. But you can read the first 3 parts free, and if you sample it, you can continue reading it on Kindle Vella for, it's like a token kind of thing, currency, or you could read it on Kindle Unlimited, or you can buy a copy, or you can become a patron of mine and receive a free copy of every book I put out every month. So, it's actually cheaper to become a patron and get it that way. Just saying. I'll link it all below. Okay, so what else has been going on? Well, I did watch some television shows and some movies. Maybe I'll discuss those. I did complete the Wheel of Time series on, was it Amazon Prime? I paid for the membership just until I finished the series, and then I canceled it because I really don't use that Prime membership at all. But what did I think about the Wheel of Time? I'm not a huge Wheel of Time fan. I've only read the first 3 books and about 1/4 of the 4th book, and then I just kind of stopped. I think if I pick it up again, I might have to go back to the beginning of book 4 because I really kind of forgot where it left off. And I'm not a super fan, but I do enjoy those books, and I have fun with them. They're good fantasy. I wouldn't put them on the same level as Lord of the Rings. It doesn't have that same, gravitas, but they're good. They're good fantasy stories. So I did watch a lot of videos, hate watching Wheel of Time, and when I sat down to watch it, I didn't have the highest expectations, but I got pulled into it. It does definitely have a strong feminist bent to it, which I guess I can understand why they went with that. It's not really reflective of the book. There are incredible female characters already built into the story. I don't think they needed to make it elevate these characters so much where it was about the women more than the men. In the book, at least up to what I read, the main focuses are on the young characters like Rand, who doesn't appear in every book that I read, but one of those young people. And the Aes Sedai, especially Moraine, they're like more of a mystery. Even Moraine is we're not really getting her point of view, as I recall. The series is very much kind of centered around her, which is fine. I liked the actress that played her role. I thought all the actors were good. It just kind of missed the boat as far as like the first book starts with this amazing dramatic prologue. So when I didn't get that right from the beginning, now they may flash back to that, but I was like, why? Why wouldn't they start with this amazing dramatic scene where the world, collapses and all this stuff? It's really great. And instead we get this voiceover with Moraine is like putting on that great blue coat she wears, and she's like, it was something like the men could not handle having the power, so we women have to show them how to do it or something. And then it just felt a little bit dialed down. I don't know. It was okay. When it comes back on, will I watch the next season? I don't know, maybe not. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, and I enjoyed the book, so that's kind of how I feel about it. I have started watching the new Witcher. I'm about halfway through, and I'll do a little review of that when I'm done. Okay, so what else? Oh, I did see a really, really good movie while we were down at the shore. It was on HBO. I'm going to give this like a really high recommendation, but sometimes what I like is not popular. And this movie was a real flop, but I think it's catching on now that it's on HBO. Anyway, it's called The Last Duel. It's directed by Ridley Scott, starring Matt Damon and Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck is in it. I didn't even recognize Ben Affleck in that part until like halfway through the movie when my husband was like, "Hey, that's Ben Affleck." I was like, "Oh yeah." Or even Matt Damon. He's so good. Yes, he has a mullet, but the movie is fantastic. In fact, it's probably the best movie I've seen since Dune. And when I saw, and I actually liked it a little more than Dune. When I saw Dune in the movie theater, I remember seeing the trailer for The Last Duel and thinking, I really have to see that. And then it kind of came and went. You know, I don't get to the movie theater that much anymore, like a lot of people. And I missed it. It didn't do well in the movie theater. But if you like a movie for grown-ups, and I don't mean to be glib about that, I don't go see like superhero movies, not because I think I'm above it, it's just that they bore me. I just can't get into the stories. This movie, The Last Duel, which is based on a true story, when the final battle happens in this movie, the stakes could not have been higher. I was on the edge of my seat. My husband loved it too. I recommended it to a couple friends. They loved it. So I'm just going to throw it out there. It's an excellent movie. It's about the battlefield of men and women and how that's separate. I went and read all the reviews after it, but I read some stupid things or saw something on YouTube about it's woke and it's like Me Too. It's like, no, it's not woke. Wheel of Time, yeah, you could say that that's pretty woke, but this is a movie about brutality from a brutal time in the medieval time and in France, and beautifully directed by Ridley Scott. I mean, this man is in his 80s and he's making 2 films a year. I still want to see that other film that about the Guccis that came out. It's like Gladiator. It's on that kind of level. It's really excellent. Just going into it though, to be warned, it is about rape in some ways. There is a rape scene that is pretty realistic, and it goes through the scene twice because it's from different points of view. It's not graphic in the way that, you know, you see a lot of things, but it's graphic in how realistic it is. If that is going to be really upsetting to you, I would not recommend this movie, but other than that, it's really, really excellent. So I think that's about all I have for today. Lily and Lucky are doing very well. Lily's finally showing a little dominance and putting Lucky in her place, which is good because this had been a concern with my vet was saying even that little Lucky was being too alpha. It's probably because I'm spoiling her, but you know, it's good to know these things. So we're working on that, and that's about it. I'm hoping to do more videos soon. I have one planned for, I think I'm going to do a Lenten TBR, something I haven't tried before. So maybe I'll pop in on Ash Wednesday this week and do a video on that. But other than that, you know, just kind of enjoying having a little time off and getting back into the swing. So don't forget to enter the giveaway if you'd like, and stick around for my reading vlogs on the V.C. Andrews book. And I will see you next time in my haunted library. Bye. Hello, so I'm out of my usual environment today, and this is my living room, and it's a mess, so I don't want to show too much. I've got dogs running around, and it's really been a crazy day. I had to take Lucky to the vet, and also walk with her for like about a mile in the snow because I had to drop my car off, and in a minute I'm going to go pick my car up again. But I wanted to get us at least start this vlog. So what I'm going to do is for each chapter, do a quick vlog that I will then upload onto my Patreon page if you'd like to check it out there. And I'll probably string it all together for a YouTube video at some point. So I was very excited to see when I woke up this morning that my pre-order for The Woman Beyond the Attic, the V.C. Andrews story, I keep getting the title wrong, by Andrew Niederman finally came in. And of course I dug right in, and I just want to do a little vlog for each new chapter. So I read the preface, it's really good, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit as I kind of go about my day. To pick up my car, I'm going to try to get some coffee and maybe show you a little bit of my town if you're interested. So stay tuned for that, just to kind of show you what I'm dealing with. For some reason, she won't sleep in her bed, but I'm not even going to show you the whole thing because she's made such a mess. Can we see your belly? There's Lily hiding under my desk. So this is what I'm dealing with. And this room desperately needs to be cleaned. This is it's horrible. My desk is such a mess. I can't face it. So I'm going to go over and pick up my car and talk a little more about V.C. Andrews. Okay. Try not to look weird talking to myself. Heading over to pick up my car. So this will be the third time today I walked over here. So I definitely got my exercise. I'm going to try to take a little bit of a shortcut through this church parking lot. So I've been thinking a lot about V.C. Andrews. One thing that really came out of the preface that I appreciated was the fact that she didn't get a publishing deal until she was 56 years old. So this is in more my demographic, and I'm happy to see that you can write 9 books and not get published and then suddenly get some overnight success. Even if it never happens, it does happen sometimes, and you should never give up. This church here is very Gothic. It's pretty cool. I'll keep my voice down in case people think I'm weird. That's another thing about being considered, old and eccentric. Came out in this preface. People magazine did a article on V.C. Andrews when Flowers in the Attic became a bestseller. I think I remember that article, or else maybe I just saw saw it online or something. I'm going to try to dig it up. This is a neat old building too. This is the old high school. I think it would really be cool if that was your high school. Just saying. Okay. So one thing that it does talk about in the preface is the idea that this People magazine article did not portray her in the way she wanted to be portrayed, and the photographs were unflattering, and they took a photo of her in her wheelchair, which she did not want, and the angle of the story was about her disability and that she was like a dotty old eccentric who happened to have this overnight success because I've never liked People magazine, but whatever. That was the angle. That's how media works, and I think we all need to keep that in mind sometimes. That the story you're getting is not the true story. And she was very sad by that, and that's kind of why she became even more publicity shy. But it does mention that in this book, Faces of Fear, by Douglas E. Winter, that I do have a copy of, that he did get a good, truthful article about her. And Niederman mentions that in his preface. Here is the ye old Quaker Meeting House, still in operation. It's a nice building. Let's take a look. Here's our little town. Pretty sleepy today. So I was thinking about V.C. Andrews, the whole thing with her age, her disability, which there's a lot of mystery around that. And Niederman hinted that he will shed some light on that topic. I always wondered if her mother pushed her down the stairs. I don't know. I think I got that from not just my sweet Audrina, but just other parts of her story. This is a really cool antique shop. It's closed today. All right, it's time to put the Christmas stuff away. I really like that pumpkin, these 2 pumpkin towers or whatever you want to call it, decor. I've spent too much money in this place already, actually. Okay, well, I'm back home. The sun is going down. My dogs are trying to get my attention, and I have to make dinner. So I really enjoyed the preface for The Woman Beyond the Attic, and I will be back probably tomorrow with another vlog on the next chapter. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you then. Bye. Okay, so I'm continuing my reading of The Woman Beyond the Attic, and I've read up to chapter 2. So I want to talk about it a little bit. Okay, so chapter 1 is called First Steps. That gets into her earliest life. I thought this was really great. I have to include this. This was what is inscribed on V.C. Andrews' grave in Portsmouth, Virginia. I believe Portsmouth is near like Newport News, Virginia Beach area. Anyway, this is inscribed on her tomb. Books opened doors I hadn't even realized were there. They took me up and out of myself, back into the past, forward into the future, put me on the moon, placed me in palaces and jungles everywhere. When finally I did reach London and Paris, I'd been there before. I definitely can relate to that. When books fail to give me what I need, dreams supply the rest. A long time ago, I dreamed I was rich and famous, and I saw flowers growing in the attic. Dreams can come true. No matter what obstacles fate chooses to place as obstacles to hurdle, crawl under, or go around, somehow I always manage to reach the far side. What else can I say? To have a goal and achieve it, despite everything, is my only accomplishment. If I can give a few million readers pleasure and escape along the way, I do the same for myself. That's really awesome. And you can't ask for maybe much more than that in life. Gets a little bit into the Lillian character, the mother. I have a hard time believing that this was like an ideal relationship. There's not much about the father other than that he was a pretty nice guy. They moved back in with Lillian's parents. So we see that in Flowers in the Attic, obviously. She originally lived in Rochester, New York, and then they moved back to, or her mother moved back to Virginia with the family. Eventually, this fascination with clairvoyance would come out in the more in-depth interviews after her success with Flowers in the Attic. Virginia even claimed to have foreseen her father's death 2 weeks before he died of heart failure in the hospital. Elaborating in Faces of Fear, she said, I woke up and I was crying and I told my mother, and she said, don't tell me, I don't want to hear it. Again, we've got this thing with the mother. A major question for us while we travel through Virginia's life then is, from where did she draw these psychologically grotesque figures? Even if we go through tons of therapy, years of therapy, we do all this soul searching, there are always going to be these things that elude us, and they come out in art perhaps and in dreams. It's very hard to face, and it's very hard for a child to blame the parent. So she talks about how she was like she wanted to buy books, but she couldn't get to her library because of her disability or something. There were no books in the house. So she wrote here, every time, and this is Virginia, every time a new book comes into the house, mother voices objection. Stop, she cries. When we move, it will cost thousands just to transport your damn books. I doubt if she was like cursing the damn books once the royalty checks were starting to come in. Just saying. Okay, so then toward the end of the chapter, we finally get to what caused her supposed injury, her disability. The staircase is especially prominent in My Sweet Audrina, but in describing Virginia's descent, we are facing something much less gothic in nature. A high school staircase. Virginia's plunge would begin with a figuratively and literally twisted fall. So she fell down a high school stairway. The chapter ends with, in order to understand the devastating effect her disability had on her young life, it is important that we contrast her later life with the almost idyllic days before, related to us by Virginia herself in her interviews and in the words of her closest brother, Eugene. So that, I guess, will be covered in the next chapter. So I just read up to 5. Lucky's barking. I'm going to run some errands. I'm going to take Lily with me, talk a little bit about the book. I'm a little triggered right now. It brought up some stuff for me. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm in my car. It's very gray and cold out here. I'm warming my car up because it's stalling a lot. Lily's with me. We're running some errands. So yes, I did get very triggered by this book talking about V.C. Andrews, because it's about this dysfunctional mother-daughter relationship, which I certainly can relate to. I mean, I don't want to go into too much of my personal stuff, but it's, I had been in therapy. I finally graduated from therapy at my age, where I got to the point where I felt like I at least wrote my life story into a novel that I could be proud of, if that makes sense. But it just reminded me of something that I read on a YouTube video about family dysfunction, and someone in the comments, and it really hit me as very poignant, wrote, "This feels like I have been given a life sentence for a crime that I never committed." I think that really hits the nail on the head, because you, as a child, you can't control how your parent is going to treat you. That's just the luck of the draw. And your parent has their own limitations and their own baggage, which I think is a big part of my process, where I was able to forgive and reconnect with my religious faith and have gratitude for the things that I was given by my parent that was the harmful parent, or the hurtful parent, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's part of the healing process. And also working it out through art is part of the healing process, which V.C. Andrews, of course, did. And the last two chapters really kind of got into this relationship with the mother, with Lillian, the push-pull of having a mother who, and she has her own issues, and that's what's so healing about, I know I'm going off on another tangent, but it is what's so healing about reading a V.C. Andrews series, is that the last book is usually a book about the nasty parent, and then you see it from her side, like the mother's point of view, and then you have empathy. Just like when I have heard stories about my mother's horrible childhood, growing up in the Depression, being adopted by another family, living in an orphanage, horrible things, I can have sympathy for her, and I can have healing. It doesn't change what I went through, but it helps me to heal, because then I'm able to let go. I'm getting emotional. Lily, she probably thinks I'm nuts talking to myself in my car. But anyway, my car's probably warmed up. I'm going to turn it around, the camera around, so I'm not looking at it while I drive, while I talk a little more about V.C. Andrews and some of the insights I gleaned from these two chapters. This is my favorite house right there. Isn't that gorgeous? That is our local funeral parlor. I would love to live there. It's right on the river. It's really quite beautiful. So it gets into the complicated relationship of that push-pull, resentment and control. Also some weirdness where Virginia would be, almost like in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, like Virginia would be lying in her bed waiting for Lillian to bring her meal, and Lillian wouldn't bring it, you know? So imagine like you're sitting there, or even, I don't want to hit the Amazon guy, or even having to like go to the bathroom or needing help with that, and being dependent on somebody who is not helping you in a loving way, but helping you in a very like resentful way, or playing games with you or something. So even if the abuse that she suffered wasn't as extreme as Flowers in the Attic, you could see where the roots are. She was like a Southern belle, and I just love the description of her in full makeup without receiving any gentleman callers, you know, just sitting there in her room working on her drawings. And she was an artist, and she would have her full makeup on, and she would sleep in a seafoam green chiffon peignoir. I know exactly what that looks like. I just love that. I love anyone who never gives up on their glamour. It actually feels good to just talk about it, because I did feel myself getting kind of just, whoa, sorry about the bounce, getting disturbed by this. Even, look, I could go through all kinds of therapy. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't erase the scars, you know. The scars can heal, but the scar is always going to be there. And I think that is just life. We all have them to some degree or another. All right, I'm going to stop it here. And we'll see you on the next... Whoops, I'm like running into the curb. I'll see you on the next vlog. I might take some pictures of this beautiful snowy river before I stop. All right, bye. Okay, well, I just finished The Woman Beyond the Attic. I think there might be a Amazon delivery truck just pulling up to my door right now, but it might be my neighbor. It's hard to tell. Anyway, it's my neighbor. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. The biography part stops at about the 50% mark, which threw me a little bit because I really wasn't expecting to have the appendix to be that large. But what it does is it includes, and I'm really glad it does, an unfinished manuscript, unedited, so it's very raw, but it's still amazing. I read it, just finished it now, and really, really enjoyed it. It's a book that she planned to do a series, and you can already see the possibilities. Sorry, here's little Lucky. She's being very rambunctious. You can already see the possibilities. It's set on an island in Maine, a fishing village with a young girl named Lisa, and it starts when she's 9. And I have a feeling like sections would have been filled in because it kind of starts with her childhood and then jumps around. Like it jumps to her being a grown-up woman about to give birth to twins, and then it jumps back to when she's a teenager. So I gather, because it's a draft, things would have changed. But the basic story is there. Ouch! She just bit me. Okay, well, Lucky was making it very difficult for me to talk. So I'm in the car now with Lily. You can kind of see my routine. Take Lily out, get coffee. It's a really beautiful day today, so I'm going to soak up what's left of it and talk a little more about the book. You ready? Here we go. Heavily edited. Anyway, so I think the lesson I'm taking away from this book is to never stop working on your craft, that you're never really too old to live out your dreams. I really believe that. And I think I see people, on BookTube or AuthorTube who are like in their 20s, like 27-year-olds, and getting discouraged, which I probably was the same way. In fact, I know I was. And that's just life, I guess. But, keeps you alive to keep working on it. And maybe you don't become famous by the time you're 30, but maybe you're not meant to. Or ever. But you can still get your work out there, and you never know. Even if a few people read it and enjoy it. Like, I'm just thrilled when anyone reads my book, honestly. The woods look kind of beautifully creepy. This is where I feel at home. So we ended up in this beautiful spot that I love to visit. It's a gorgeous day, almost night. The sun is out here and the moon is out there, which I love. And I just really enjoyed the book. I'm very grateful to Andrew Niederman for writing it and for continuing her legacy. I'm going to jump right into the Logan series. Got that ready to go. And have so much respect for Virginia Andrews as an artist, as a fighter, all the way to the end. I'm glad she got to experience a taste of her hard work paying off in not only wealth, but also validation and an ability to travel as well. And Stephen King, you were wrong when you said she was a bad writer, because anyone that captures people's hearts and minds and souls the way her work has is a good writer and a great artist. So, just for me and Lily, signing off for now. Thanks for joining us on this little reading adventure, and maybe I'll do some more. And to all my patrons, thank you for the support and much love. Bye.